Welcome to episode 6 of Urban Gothic, Some of the Parts. Oh joy, we open in a hospital. A nurse is telling an old woman to go to sleep. The woman's fine enough to be reading a novel, so I think that she should be fine enough to say when she goes to sleep. But what do I know?
Another 5 minutes then.
And Edgar Allan Poe, foreshadowing something possibly? Ravens, cats, other animals owned by Peter Cushing and Biggles? Oh no, it was the Edgar Allan Poe story where someone got menaced by the black oil from the X-Files. So she's dead, and after the intro we see our stars. This guy is Rani's dad in the Sergeant Adventures. He's called Takashi because someone thinks that he looks Japanese. And the woman is an angry, take-no-shit lesbian. And if this was real, I'd wonder if she was single. Oh, time for a hilarious moment.
Very funny, Takashi. Who died and made you Lenny Bruce?
She did.
The old woman is dead, even though she has no signs of anything that would be fatal on her body. I don't know how they know that, because they haven't actually checked it yet. Unless they did check. They stripped her naked, checked, and then put her body back. But that seems a little bit thorough for a TV show which has the police who let small armies of zombies run around willy-nilly. 2 other women have died in similar circumstances in the last few days, so they have a mystery. So who can they enlist to solve this mystery? Well, who else but Davros, creator of the Daleks.
And how are we all today, ladies?
Well, it's the third Davros, Terry Malloy, my personal favourite. He was in Peter Davison, Colin Baker's Fist McCoy's runs on Doctor Who, and in a fine set of audio dramas about his origins on Big Finish. This scene answers many questions that the audience might have. For instance, later on it explains how the people died. They each had an organ removed from their bodies without being cut open. I think that's called teleportation. You also find out that old lady's pubic hair doesn't go grey for some reason. Also, the old lady in the foreground's distracting, not because of the pubes, but because she's clearly breathing. Why not just use a mannequin? So they decide which old lady is going to be autopsied first, which is a bit strange because they stated that there'd been several deaths over the last few days, so surely at least one of these ladies should have been autopsied already.
Start with her.
My, that sounded nearly sexual. You kinky minx. So we discover why Davros never took to stand-up comedy.
So, if you would just like to open wide, please, Mrs. Schaefer, and say... Ah!
So he cuts her up and she's freshly bloody even though she died last night. And I see why they didn't buy a mannequin for the other body. They blew their mannequin allowance on this one. So as I explained before, they've had organs removed and Takashi is still trying to convince us that his actor is Japanese by eating with chopsticks. He then works out something horrifying.
All the women you're currently butchering have one thing in common. They've all received organ transplants in the last 9 months.
So all people who got organ transplants are affected by this our old woman between 65 and 70. What are the odds?
Each of these women has lost the organ donated to them, and even stranger than that, their operation scars have seemingly vanished.
Okay, that's stupid. Organ teleportation from transplant patients is a fine and creepy idea for a horror show, but disappearing scars? That's just silly!
In that 9-month period, there's only one other patient we haven't heard from yet. She's only a girl, Winter. Hayes, her name's Layla Hayes. She was the first.
Oh, the one patient under 65 is a telegenic teenager. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. So Renee Montoya of Scotland Yard finds the teen as she's being raped by the Invisible Man or something, and she just so happens to have a hospital wristband on, even though they stated that she was the first of the transplant patients to be operated on, and the transplants happened in the last 9 months. Gotta say, the wristband's gonna be a little chafy after 9 months of continuous wearing. So they get her to the hospital, and the doctors really have the right priorities.
She's circling the drain! Someone get that crap off her face!
We then get some fun sexual tension that goes nowhere between the policewoman and a doctor, and then suddenly this nice little thriller about teleporting organs becomes a little bit silly.
No! You did this to me! You brought her to us!
Your mother sucks cocks in hell, Paris, you faithless slime.
So Takashi, the most non-Japanese character ever, gets some info on the time-honoured way of staring at a body part in a bottle. He figures out where the black liquid is coming from.
Turns out they were nothing, just loose material suspended in tear duct fluid.
Wonderful. Am I to assume that the teenager's tear ducts were located in her throat? I'd insert a deep throat reference here, but it's time for some loosely related folk wisdom.
My father once told me that our souls cry black tears
When a lost spirit comes back to find her.
So she decides that it's the teenage girl's mother who was the donor for all of them, and her ghost is killing all the patients. Unfortunately, the reality is much stupider than that. It's also much stupider than the Vidians from Star Trek Voyager being behind the deaths, and that would involve time travel. Then we have the unnecessarily creepy doctor being unnecessarily creepy, and if he keeps practicing, he might make it to John Carradine's level one day. The policewoman then flirts with the woman doctor some more.
It's just nice to know that there's someone who seems to understand that doing everything sometimes isn't enough. Sometimes we have to do anything.
Anything.
Detective, I've 6 hours left on my shift. Good luck with the investigation.
I'm letting on that I know dark secrets about what's going on. Good luck with your investigation. So they spin the horror roulette wheel and it comes up, flickery light, and someone's been pinned to the wall because, you know, that makes sense.
Layla.
Not Layla.
Where are you?
Come over what's mine!
Okay, flickery lights, an extra stab to a wall, a possessed teen/cop fight, crap techno, and a badly digitally lowered voice. This scene is just missing an imitation Japanese man trying to do martial arts and failing. Okay, this scene officially has everything, and kudos for the stock grown in pain. So now that they're following the possessed teen, it's time for yet another reference to how Takashi is actually Japanese.
You believe in weird stuff, don't you, Takeshi?
I believe in Godzilla.
Right.
Honestly, if anyone out there knows the answer to this who watches this, is this guy actually supposed to be Japanese? So they split up for some reason and Takashi finds out what's been going on.
I found something. The papers in Dr. Marvel's office are all covered in lots of 4-syllable words about something called xenotransplantation.
Wouldn't the acid blood pose a little bit of a problem? Anyway, the teen tears out the creepy doctor's kidney with her bare hands.
These aren't mine.
Oh, that's hilarious. Takashi finds a room full of empty cages and creepy doctor can speak pretty well for someone who's had his kidneys torn out, and I have to wonder why there aren't any orderlies in this fucking hospital, and Takashi finds a room full of half-formed Sigourney Weaver clones in tanks.
I want you to set me free!
So even though we earlier saw the Thing doing that whole teleporting people's organs out of their bodies thing, they seem to have lost that ability and so forces the doctor woman to cut out their heart. This results in people vomiting black crap all over themselves. And dying. Okay, this is what I think is going on. They created an artificial person who can act as an organ bank and then they killed it to provide organs for people. And now it's a ghost who can teleport organs out of bodies, possess people through its heart, and needs a doctor to cut the heart from its possession victim's body so that it can die, even though it's still alive in the tank. Even though the last shot shows that it's disappeared, and this has something to do with evolution. What? Okay, wow, this was confusing, and more than a little what the fuck, and not in brilliant ways. This started off okay, and it just got worse and worse as it went on. Still, it gets kudos for having a lesbian lead, back when that was still brave. And seriously, Takashi, what the fuck?
Crashed out of a really good dream.
Oh, try positively pornographic. She had Uma Thurman's nose.
Not turned on by a nose. I thought lesbians were supposed to be more imaginative.
People from all walks of life are on their way to Reviewtopia, Internet's city of the future. Our scientists have been working around the clock to bring you the absolute finest in handcrafted reviews, humor, and entertainment to please the eyes and ears of every man, woman, and child. Everything you need will be found right here in Reviewtopia. Operators are standing by to reserve your spot and keep you in touch with our team of reviewers. Blast off into the future of internet reviewing entertainment at Reviewtopia!